Yeah, I think it's important too. Like if you want to continue, well, first, I don't stress about getting workouts if I'm vacationing. If I'm traveling, that's a different story. Like if it's like a work trip, like it's that's a different story. Like I'm gonna train. Like I always, if I'm work traveling, if I can, I'll pack workout clothes. If I'm going somewhere where I know there's jujitsu, I'll pack my gi, I'll pack my rash guards and stuff like that. But I don't try to stress too much about like workouts on during while I'm vacationing. Like if I book a place that has a gym, or if I Google and there's gyms close by and I can fit it in, then I will, go train. But honestly, like if I'm vacationing, I'm going to be doing active stuff anyways. And I think that's like one of my like bare minimums is like, I am going to move every day. And whether it's like, hey, I'm going to go walk all around this town and see everything, or I'm going to go to the ocean and go snorkeling. I'm going to do something active, and I'm just going to count that as my movement. And I'm not going to stress about like missing workouts really.
Totally. Well, and it's like, again, how do you want to feel when you're traveling and what are you trying to get out of it? Because it's like,
Yeah.
it's totally okay too if you are that person that you're like, actually, I do just want to lay around at the beach and I want to do nothing. Then, like, by all means, do it. But I think for me, it's like, I normally, any other time in my life, it's like, travel is so normal for me that I'm never really breaking routine. And therefore, I'm always like still hitting the gym, doing all that stuff. Which, again, it's just like, I think that's such a big part of travel is how do I want to feel
Yeah.
during, while I'm there? And then also like, am I going to be okay with my decisions when I get back from travel also? Because,
Hmm.
especially it's like, Alex, you probably can talk about this more, but how many people have an all or nothing mindset about travel where it's like,
Yeah.
hey, I live life like this, but then I go travel and, you know,
It's like how Stella got her groove back, man. Like it's complete wilding out. Now, like, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people do approach, at least from a vacation standpoint, like, it's going ham, right? Like they're going to drink all the drinks. They're going to eat all the food. They're not going to sleep. They're not going to take care of themselves. And then they get back and feel like shit, right? And then that's where I think a lot of like the spiral, the cycle starts, because then they come back and they feel really poorly. And then usually what ends up happening is people will do something extreme, drastic to try to counteract that. And then it kind of continues again with that kind of cyclical pattern of all or nothing, going to be super strict, and then go on vacation and go ham. When your vacation can still be a time where you enjoy yourself and you also come back feeling really, really good and not actually regretting the things that you did while you're on vacation. Because like I've heard so many times people go on vacation, they're like, oh my God, I shouldn't have gone on vacation because I gained so much weight and I feel terrible. And then you start like negatively associating taking a vacation and having fun with this bullshit. So I think that that's something that a lot of people do, and it doesn't have to be that way.
And I think it also takes time is the biggest thing too. It's like if you are somebody that you have kind of made that association of like, hey, when I go on vacation or when I travel, it is all or nothing. It's not just going to happen in one trip that you're able to find the happy medium. And so, again, we'll reference our friend like Kate Lyman, where she talks about minimums and just
Yeah.
having some, basically her concept is like, hey, you have these minimums that just do these things and then let it be enough. Right. And so for me, my minimums would be like, hey, can I hit like body weight in grams of protein per day? Or maybe if I'm not tracking, can I have a really big serving of protein, breakfast, lunch, dinner? Can I have a couple, protein bars or jerky, as snacks throughout the day to make sure I'm getting enough protein? I'm not even going to pretend like I prioritize sleep because I don't. So that would be a great minimum. I don't.
But that's a great point because it's got to be something that you're. So the concept of bare minimums, like I talk about as well with my clients, like it needs to be something that you are very confident about doing. Like, and it should be something that you already pretty much do. Like for me, like I'm gonna move daily. Like I said, like earlier, I don't care if I get like a workout in a gym. I'm gonna still move my body on a daily basis somehow. That's a minimum to me, and it's not something that is negotiable, really. And then like for me, like I'm gonna eat some fruits and vegetables because I just feel better doing it. Like I'm not gonna sit there and just live on bread and cheese the whole time. Like give me some tomatoes on that joint. Like right, like so. I I'm gonna make it in it, and try to keep it as flexible as possible. Not really like if it's too rigid, you're probably not gonna stick to it. So be willing to like change directions if you need to do it. And if you had these intentions upon doing more, then maybe do less, and it's okay.
Totally. Well, because how many people are, it's like they track their macros 24/7, 365. They weigh and measure. They go to the gym. They weigh themselves every day. And there's all these things. And then they end up just being anxious when they travel because they completely like try to go the other way. So it's really just paving the way for like, how do you meet in the middle? What are habits you can commit to that will make you feel good? So the one that came to mind is it's like, if you don't get enough fiber while you travel, you're going to have a bad time in the bathroom, right? Yeah. So it's like, ironically, a lot of my minimums, a lot of my I don't know. A lot of my minimums tend to be ones that ironically are also kind of self-corrective, where it's like, hey, it only takes one day of not doing this thing for it to self-correct itself. And I make sure to do it the next day because, if you don't get enough fiber, well, then your digestion gets off. And so you quickly want to rectify that, right? Or same thing. It's like, well, if you don't get enough protein, maybe you're feeling super hungry, even though you've eaten enough food. So it's like when you set these minimums, let it be stuff that you just know makes you feel good. And again, it's like, how do you get in bed with like, have a really good time, but I do these minimums so that you're not necessarily continuing to still work towards your goals, but we're not like going backwards either. It's just like, we're just kind of almost maintaining, or we're hovering where we're at, I think is a really great approach for most people. Because it's just like, how do you do those things? Travel can be really fun. It doesn't have to be a mental spiral, but it can be. It can cause a lot of anxiety.
Yeah, and I mean, again, if you think about it, it's only like we're not vacationing. Well, some people do travel for work a lot, but if we're talking about like a vacation, we're not going on vacation like every week. So it really shouldn't be something that's like wrecks your whole year. It's only a small amount of time. So you got to be okay with just, like you said, maintaining and not necessarily like making any progress. That's fine, but just maintaining is totally fine.